Arizona has actually been pretty fortunate so far this summer. Wildfires have been few and far between. But when a fire does pop up, there are people waiting and watching for them.
They're called wildfire lookouts, stationed in some of the most remote areas Arizona has to offer. Fox 10's Brian Webb introduces us to one lookout on the job deep in the Prescott National Forest.
Up a dusty, rock-covered road, you reach the highest peak in the Prescott National Forest, Mount Union. Then climb a tall wooden tower sitting on stilts, built in 1933 at just over 8,000 feet elevation. And up here all alone is Aundrea Romero.
It's very relaxing. If you can handle the solitude is the biggest thing. It does, sometimes people think they can, and then they really can't. So it does test you. You really got to hang out with yourself for a lot.
Aundrea is a wildfire lookout for the U.S. Forest Service, sun up to sundown 6 days a week, peering down on the ponderosa pines for 30 miles in any direction.
I keep my head on a swivel. I'm not constantly looking for smokes, and I'm doing a more in-depth check usually every 15 minutes to make sure that I'm staying on top of the area.
This pedestal comes with plenty of perks, fresh air, amazing views, peace and quiet, but also lots of responsibility. Aundrea is credited with spotting the Crooks fire this spring, her second day on the job. Call it trial by fire.
As bad as the Crooks got, something that I was told repeatedly and constantly was if it hadn't been caught as soon as it was, it could have been way worse.
Spotters are stationed in 4 towers across the forest from about April through September, the peak of wildfire season. Human smoke detectors used as a first line of defense.
We want people to be able to feel safe going out in the woods and recreating, and knowing that there is somebody there in case something happens, like a fire.
When Aundrea sees smoke, she measures the degree and distance using an Osborne or fire finder, a spinning steel plate that seems snatched from a maritime museum, then pinpoints the spot on a map and calls it into dispatch.
The best way to do it is better safe than sorry. At no point is anybody going to ever be upset that you called something in and it was a campfire or it wasn't anything at all.
It can get a little lonely up here. Aundrea passes the time reading and knitting, chatting with hikers, her dog, or sometimes herself. But things can also become intense too, like when winds push the tower around or when lightning pays a visit. That's where this so-called lightning-proof chair comes into play, recycled street lamps on its legs.
This is supposed to make sure that I don't get fried.
This is Aundrea's first tour of duty as a lookout, starting out with a bang, spotting the Crooks fire, and now settling in for the long summer ahead. Someone to watch over Arizona, because where there's smoke, there's fire. Brian Webb, Fox 10 News.
Really interesting. There are some 100 lookout towers spread out across Arizona. And if a spotter has an emergency, they can lock themselves inside and call a supervisor or 911.